welcome to the 90s United podcast, your Newcastle United podcast, hosted by three lifelong Newcastle United supporting friends. Myself, AC, Jefferson. You guys all right?
What up?
What's up?
Yeah, in a
Good.
good mood
Good.
and that.
Yeah,
Smile,
I'm actually feeling all right. I'm feeling
Yeah.
all right since Saturday, 12:30, whatnot. I feel not too
Okay.
bad actually.
Okay. Well, if we didn't know, we're on the back of a 1-1 draw with Man City, and we're going to review that game on the podcast. But before we do, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Helps us out with the algorithm, get the numbers up and that. Much appreciated. But yeah, like AC said, 12:30 on the last Saturday gone. We faced the mighty Man City. Some would say the best team in the country. Some would say the best team in the world. Current league champions and that.
Big status.
Yeah, but I think it's safe to say we were all apprehensive going into the game. We all predicted a loss. Some closer than others. Yeah, AC, you said we'd get slapped 3-1.
I said we'll lose 3-1, and I was really convinced by that. Because it's really interesting. Like, for those of you who listened to the previous episodes where we had a guest on the show with Amari, who's a Manchester City fan, which was a really good episode. Go over it and stuff as well. But just talking to him and him talking out loud about Man City, the more we went through the episode, I was just like, the score kept changing in my head, and I was just like, nah, we are not coming out this alive. But to my delight, though, a very different game happened, and something that it surprised a lot of us. I don't think there's any fan out there who could say that, oh yeah, I was expecting that.
Exactly.
Like, no one was expecting that at all. Going back with our previous, obviously, performances of the past games, especially when we really put our heads in the sand after the Fulham game, all of us were not looking forward to this game. We thought it was going to be the slaughterhouse, right? We thought we were going to get gutted. But, to my delight, there was a lot of good changes.
A lot of positives. Jefferson, you predicted, was it 2-0 or
3-0?
3-0. Oh, wow.
I thought it was going to be a butchery in advance of Halloween and all that, Boy, I thought it was going to be like a Victorian East End horror, but definitely that was a little bit more like the Newcastle we know and love. With our pressing, our intensity, our energy, the intent was there to close the opponents down, and then obviously utilize the ball when we received it. And yeah, there was a bit of that verve and energy when we had the ball as well. A little bit in terms of if there was a little bit more quality, the outcome could have been even different. But I think we can be kind of slightly relieved that we managed to get a point out of City when, to be honest, most of us thought we were going to lose, didn't we?
Yeah. I think I predicted a 2-1 defeat, but I didn't think it would be. I thought they'd play us off the park, to be fair, and that wasn't the case. Like you said, we applied ourselves very well, especially off the ball, with the pressing, intensity, stuff like that. We showed glimpses of quality when we had the ball. Obviously, it's against Man City. You're not going to see a lot of the ball, but I think I read a stat. Obviously, we had 38% possession, which is the most since I think the Rafa days when we beat them. I don't know what the result was, but we had 42% possession. I think we drew them as well. But so listen, making progress. I think we're safe to say it's the best performance of the season so far.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
It was encouraging, and we'll get into the individual performances and what was done differently. But let's start with the lineups, right? Because obviously Man City we knew they had no Rodri. Came up, KDB gonna miss it as well. But from a Newcastle perspective, were you surprised?
Say it. Keyword Tonali,
right? Were you surprised? Because I remember we thought that obviously we all wanted him to start. I think the majority of the fan base wanted him to start, but we thought that Eddie would revert to type and go with Longstaff, right? So, bit of a surprise. He started Tonali. He started our strongest midfield on paper, which is Bruno, Joelinton, and Tonali. The back four surprised a few, but maybe not us, because we said Lewis Hall needed to start.
Yeah,
I think Jefferson. You said Trippier needs to start above Tino. I think you said that. I think. We said he was going to do it anyway. Obviously, we know the centre backs, and then he had obviously the news came out that Isak was going to miss it through a broken toe. So the front line kind of predicted this, selected itself with.
Is it broken?
Yeah.
Is it broken?
Yeah.
That's minimum 6 weeks, isn't it?
Well, no. Apparently, he's
fractured or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure they said broken, but the way Eddie's talking, that he should be back after international break. So.
That could be a big smoking screen because that mean nothing to us, man.
Yeah, so
because technically speaking, January is after the international break.
Don't take the piss, bro.
Oh my days!
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Don't take liberties, but obviously he missed the game, so we had Gordon up top, Barnes on the left, and Murphy on the right. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I thought that we started the game quite well.
Really well.
We saw quite a bit of the ball, knocking it around quite nice. And obviously, when Man City had the ball, that's when we started our press from the front. I thought Gordon worked very hard. Now, an interesting thing that I saw was the movement of Tonali and Bruno. I don't know if you guys realize, but when Kovacic was on the ball, one of them immediately, or in fact, followed him around basically. So if he couldn't receive the ball, or when he did it, he couldn't turn on it. They was on him, and they took turns. So when one went, the other one sat, and vice versa. So I thought that was quite good to see. Them, being disciplined. The midfield itself was quite disciplined in its positioning. A lot of the game. Sometimes they got caught lacking in the middle, but for the majority, I thought there was quite disciplined with Bruno, Tonali, Joe Linton. I know AC wants to talk about Joe Linton's role, but Joe Linton. I say he had a free role, but he was roaming about the pitch in different positions and stuff, which was interesting. So, credit to Eddie. Tactical tweaks. He's obviously had the week to work with the players with the postponement of the League Cup game. It seemed to have worked. But AC, what is it that you liked in particular of the performance?
I just like the fact that it definitely looked like we were adapting our strategy of like how we would. First of all, how we would press, how we go ahead at Man City, because Man City will always play it from the back and they will try their best to get the ball through your midfield as quick as possible. But many times there were good examples where we nullified that quite early. There were times where Ederson was like passing it back to the right backs and stuff like that, and they would just get swamped, push it back to Ederson again, and then we'll swamp him again. It was like relentless. And I was just like, yes, man, this is the Newcastle of the season of 22-23 when we were just like that high octane like every game. So it was a very welcome thing to see. But one of the most interesting things that I did see, and it was quite clear, is that I did joke about in the previous episode about the low block, because my fear about this whole game is that when Man City like pressurize you and they suffocate you in your own half and you can't breathe, it's only a moment of time where you do concede a goal. We did concede a goal. We can go through that, but it was the notion of what we're doing with the midfield. Because what was happening is that Joe Linton was going back into the defensive line, so we had 5 at the back. But not just that, it allowed other players to move around a bit as well. Because at some points you're seeing like Joe Linton playing like left back. It's just like, but what was really good, because I did say in the previous pod as well that it would be good to have Hall and Joe Linton on the left. Joe Linton can protect Hall and such. But I didn't know we were going to go to this extreme where when we form a defensive line, he falls back and all of a sudden, there's less gaps for players to fit in, or less gaps, for Man City to feed the ball through, because, there's many other attributes into this. We can talk about Dan Burn and, his role in that as well. And just like Haaland not getting a sniff, man. Like, this is the guy who's on form that we were scared about, but this guy didn't receive anything that whole game. Like, nothing.
Did Haaland stay humble, AC?
I think he has to stay humble. I'm surprised no one got on his face at the end. If only Tonali was still on the pitch, he might have been our player, been like, stay humble, yeah. I enjoyed a lot of things in this game. There's a lot of details. I like the fact that Tonali showed some aggression in his game as well, got up in Grealish's face as well. Tonali was standing over him like Muhammad Ali standing over, what's his name? The classic picture of Ali when I've got another guy who's on the floor.
Some bum.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a really good transitions, but it's something that we've been talking about for a long time, because with the formation of 4-3-3 and the past games, just looking at the previous games of this season, is that the shape was so rigid as a 4-3-3. So then when we go defensively, there's still just 4 men at the back, and then that 3 in the midfield. If one man's out of position, the ball quickly goes past our midfield. Hence the reason that we will receive like probably a lot of counter attack on our behalf, and the reason why we faced so many shots. I need to check the stats again of how many shots Man City did have, but I'm willing to bet here that it was a lot less than other oppositions had in our previous games.
And their XG was a lot less than ours as well.
Yeah.
16
shots, 6 on target.
So, right. But you know what I liked about the overall play is that from a defensive point of view, I like the way that Newcastle kind of squeezed Man City into the central areas, and they thought, right, if you're going to put it out wide, they're comfortable with Trippier one-on-one with Grealish and Paul one-on-one with Bernardo Silva. It may have been different with Doku and Savino, but I thought that those two on the wide, those two Man City players suited Trippier and Hall. And also when we had the ball, we weren't pumping it long with no game plan. What we were trying to do is, especially in the first half, was target Gvardiol. So they were playing it long to Murphy because he knew he had the pace to beat Gvardiol. We had a Mayor. Other than the goal, he was struggling in the first half. Murphy was causing a lot of problems. Final delivery, something he put one across the box, which if Isak's there, he's on the end of it. Another one, I think he played it first time when he could have taken extra touch and stuff. But
I know he played it too early, man. Yeah. It was so early. I was like,
overall, exactly. But he was causing Gvardiol a lot of problems. I think that was a tactic of Newcastle to target that area because they know that he's as good as he is. He's not a natural left back. And actually, he doesn't normally this season bomb forward like he usually does. Obviously, he did for the goal and stuff. But I thought that was good to see. And obviously, like I said, Tonali's aggression, his quick passing as well. He was about the place quite a lot as well. He was quite busy.
He was everywhere, man.
It was good to see. And what I did like to see is Gordon seemed to be back to his harrying nuisance best. He wasn't giving up balls. He was chasing them down. He was pressing, which we didn't see up until this point, which was positive. Obviously, with the new contract that's going to be signed, the War Flags tribute to him at the beginning of the game, which you mentioned afterwards, which got him a bit emotional. So it got him up for the game. But this is the Gordon that we want to see. Jefferson, what was you most impressed with?
Yeah, first, most and foremost is the attitude, isn't it? This is what we've been lacking in the previous 5 games. We've literally been berating the team for not giving their all. And this game was the complete opposite. Of course, they weren't perfect in parts, but literally all we asked for is that they try their best, and that's what we got. We were aggressive. We were harrying them. We were in their faces, making it really, really uncomfortable for them. And I think all the recipes added up because it was a sunny day. We were at home, and we love playing on big pitches. With the pace that we've got, and they were going to struggle with that. And I think we picked our moments well. And what you find when you play against Man City, a lot of people think it's the physical tiredness. No. It's the mental tiredness. Having that positional awareness, making sure you don't make mistakes in possession as well. Because what will happen is eventually you will get mentally tired, and that's where the mistakes creep in. And I think Man City, I could be wrong, had the stats for the most goals after, is it 80 minutes or something?
Yeah.
It's either 75 or 80 minutes. So that's really about the concentration levels. And yeah, we more than surpassed them on that. So this is really what we want to see going forward. I'm not going to get into any false dawns by saying we've got our team back, because the issue is we know when we're away from home, are we going to match this kind of performance? But sticking to this game, I think we all thought pretty much, it was going to be a defeat of some shape or form. And we've shot the league with this kind of performance. I feel like we've almost gone off the radar. It's like, no. Like, if we turn up on our day, we're here. We can do bits. But I'm not luring myself into a false sense of security. But I would say we've definitely got a bit of that pride back. And what we have to do now is match the performance again and get the result against Everton in the next game after
Which we'll talk about. Yeah.
Right, because that then means if we don't do that, this performance in this game means nothing. We've got to back that up.
That's so true.
So let's talk about the game itself. What happened. So obviously, the game starts and stuff, and Man City, once they got into their groove, they had a few opportunities, half opportunities. Haaland put a weak shot into Pope's hands. I think Akanji put one wide. There wasn't, from our end, we didn't really trouble Edison at all. And then 34th minute, the goal happens. Now, Trippier high up the pitch, one-on-one with Grealish. I think Grealish got fortunate with the rebound off Trippier's tackle, but a lot of people criticizing Trippier for lunging in like that and not winning it. But, you know, Grealish kind of flicks it over and he runs through. Now, obviously, he squared it to Gvardiol, who I believe turns Dan Burn way too easily and slots it in. Good finish, but I think it could have been prevented. Sloppy goal to concede. But at that point, well, first of all, who's more at fault for that goal? And at that point, what were you thinking when we went 1-0 down? Were you fearing the worst? Or did you think, given how we played up until then, you know, there's still an opportunity? AC?
I won't lie. When we conceded that goal, I was worried because I was like, here's the start of the rainstorm. Because when Man City score one goal like that, their aggression to go forward and score another quite successfully quick is what they do. At the fault of the goal, I felt like I couldn't really blame Trippier too much. And to be honest, it was his only fault the whole game. Like, Trippier played really well, I thought. So that shows a lot about his game. He didn't like that goal going in, didn't like mess up his game from that moment. If anything, he played even better. He went forward, you know, his position was really good going forward. But overall, though, when it went in, I remember just saying to myself, what can you say, man? It was a good play of goal. Like, they really are that clinical, Man City. And we spoke about it before in the previous podcast, is that they are so clinical at it that you give them one sniff. But at the same time, it's the same with us as well. We have to be so clinical. And it's quite interesting up to that point. We never had anything quite clear. And I had to admit, I was fearing a little bit because I was thinking, this is a game for Isak, really, because Isak will thrive off of that. Give me that one chance and I could break that, you know. But at the same time, though, Gordon at the front there was doing so well. And we'll get into that bit with Gordon about the penalty and such, because not to jump too far ahead, but I was thinking at the time, if Isak was in that position, I think he would have scored, you know. I don't think we would have got a penalty. I think he would have just been like, took it around Edison quite easily.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that anyway.
Yeah. Jefferson, what were your thoughts on a goal conceded? Was there anyone to blame, and did you feel the worst? What were your thoughts?
I mean, I'll be blagging it if I try and give you any detailed analysis, because I actually missed the first half, admittedly. So I only saw the highlights of the first half. It was a good finish from Gvardiol. I think he popped up with 5 or 6 similar goals last season. Listen, you could argue, yes, Dan Burn gets turned a bit easy. You can get a bit pedestrian in these sort of situations as well. You almost marvel at the kind of football that they play. But you could argue with Trippier as well, is that a match sharpness situation as well, you know? Because this is like his first start of the season, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
I think, or was it? Did he start on the opening day? I can't remember.
But
I don't think he started many games this season. He's normally come off the bench, isn't he? So I think, again, it's about that sharpness, concentration levels. But what I would say is heads were lifted. They didn't go down. And actually, I admired the response from the team, because you think the avalanche is coming, and it was quite the opposite, wasn't it?
Just on the Trippier thing, there was a point before where I think Bernardo slid a slide rule pass through to the back post, and he's cleared it just before Haaland got in. I think he collided with the post as well. And on Dan Burn, obviously, listen, Dan Burn and Fabian Schär sent, shackled Haaland all game. And I did say when we did the preview that I wasn't really worried about Haaland. Same worried, but I thought that Dan Burn could handle the physicality, whatever. There was a moment, though, when they've gone for a 50-50 on the side, and Haaland has actually bodied Dan Burn, bro. He's barged him. They've both gone into the shoulder barge, and he's floored Dan Burn. Yeah, in fact, Dan Burn put him on the back of his ankle and ripped his ankle apart. But the way he went down, bro. Listen, that brother's he's no slouch. Haaland is strong. Yeah, on the back of the battle with Gabriel, he's ready for physicality. But yeah, listen, we got 1-0 down, and I personally, I did fear the worst. I thought, get to half time with 1-0 and we might be okay. But I thought that they'd go on, maybe get into the second before half time and the game will be outside. Now, there was an opportunity before the half ended with Joe Linton when he turned that snapshot and fought a good save from Edison. Because we seemed the goal in a strange way seemed to galvanise us. We recovered after a couple minutes after that. We were back on the front foot, pressing front and winning it off City in their half or their box, whatever, playing good football, and the opportunity comes to Joe Linton and the quick snapshot. I think before that, a tussle in the box, and one of them has thrown Fabian Schär down, and he's appealed for the penalty, but that just got waved away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go in 1-0 down, and still in the game, playing well, and then obviously the second half starts, and again started pretty well, and then the incident of the match happens. So I think it was Joe Linton played it to Bruno. Bruno slides through Antony Gordon, who's 1-on-1 with the keeper. And when he's gone through, I've had visions of him against Liverpool from last season when he's gone 1-on-1 and he slotted it. But he takes a heavy touch.
I know.
And listen, I want to say credit to Gordon, because the quick thinking, he knows that if the keeper makes contact with him, he can go down. Right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. There was contact, no matter how minimal, there was contact. He's gone over, cleverly kept his foot in the ground, and he's gone down. Right? Now, before I go to AC, Jefferson, was it a penalty?
You've seen them given, yeah? Let's be clear, because there was contact, but is it enough for him to go clattering down the way he did? Well, he was running at speed, so there is an argument for that. It's a penalty, but it's a very soft one. It's certainly debatable whether it was or not. So you know what? We don't normally get good favour, but I'll take that one for sure. Particularly, we'll talk about it in a moment. Compared to the other penalty, it was a soft one. Man City would feel hard done by. But just to go back to what you said, he definitely messed that up. I think a fully confident Antony Gordon swipes at that, and that goes bottom right corner.
Yeah.
So that heavy touch, messes him up there. So yeah, we did get a bit fortunate with that one, I think.
You say we don't usually get good favour, but I know opposition fans will be saying we do when it comes to Antony Gordon, because a lot of the penalties that we win, it's him involved, and
it's always him, man. It's always
the time,
we're making up for the past. I still remember Edison clattering. Who is it that he clattered at home? And João Cancelo looked like, oh my god,
it was Longstaff, wasn't it?
I think Ryan Fraser. That was it. And Ryan Fraser bloody spun in the air. João Cancelo was like, oh, we're in trouble here, and then the rest like, no, play on.
Remember the Chelsea game when Havertz scored that great goal, but Murphy got brought down by the defender.
Chabala ripped his shirt. He actually ripped his shirt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So yeah, maybe it's swing around about. But yeah, AC. What are your thoughts on it?
Man, so controversial as it sounds, but I feel like, just straight to the point, I don't think it's a penalty, because if the shoe was on the other foot and that was Man City getting that, we would have kicked off. We would have been like, robbed. We've been shouting it all day long, because it's the slightest touch. It's so slight. And I'm trying to think about the context there, like Jefferson said about the speed he's running at, because Gordon is fast, right? He's got very good pace at it. But at the same time, he is our we want to conceive a penalty, he's our merchant. He'll give it to us all day long. Free kicks and whatnot. So I almost do take it. But in comparison to what happens literally about 2 minutes later on the pitch with Joe Linton, and he gets brought down in the box, and I'm just like, with Kyle Walker, and I'm looking at that like, that is a penalty. That's a penalty.
But do you think that because the ref's given that, and he probably thinks that it was dubious, there's no way he could then give another one so soon afterwards?
Yeah, I think there is this like almost like a grace period. But at the same time, though, I think that's bullshit though, because like referees shouldn't do that. But
is VAR allowed to overturn it? Because for me, what shocked me is that VAR would have seen, they would have checked all the angles and not said to the ref, go and have a look at the screen.
I think the rule is changed in the sense that they won't overrule the referee decision if it's not a belated mistake. Yeah,
right.
If it's questionable or a slight error, then they're not going to get involved. They're trying to let the ref the game in it. So unless it's a blatant error where they've said, you know what, no, he dived, he blatantly dived, then they maybe overturn it. But nah, I don't think they've. But then had the ref not given a pen, I don't think VAR would have got involved as well. You know what I mean? I think they would just let the game go and it is what it is. But listen,
I do want to pull this back a little bit of just say credit to Bruno for that through ball, man. This is what we've been missing.
Quick thinking.
This is what we've been missing.
Yeah.
That quick release. We talked about it the other day about too many touches and that. And then in this game, you see the efficiency of like release the ball as soon as you have it. And all the players were doing it. There was definitely a good game plan, and it really worked really well. And like when you see Gordon just like break his run like that, I was like, yes. And that's just when I was like, man, I miss Isak, because this is a beautiful game for Isak to have his opportunities.
He blatantly slots that one away, like you said.
And I do reckon that Isak in that same position, he ain't going nothing on the penalty. He's scoring that goal.
Yeah.
And he'll finish it with class as well and make Edison look out of all sorts. But
you know what? Credit to Gordon, because there was quite a bit of delay before he had to take the penalty. And you know, he wanted the penalty, he took it, he scored. Very good penalty as well. I think
very good.
He's training with from in Benton from the under 21. They focused on that and whatnot, whatever. So, but yeah, listen, got back into the game 1-1. Like AC said, we had the opportunity. Joe Linton got taken down by Kyle Walker. Could have been another penalty. But yeah, listen, from then on, again, we were playing well. Eddie Howe makes a couple of substitutions through Cramp, Trippier and Tonali go off. Longstaff and Tino come on. Now, Longstaff had the opportunity. First of all, we gave the ball away pretty much straight away, and caused us Man City to break. But listen, he got into the box, arrived late into the box, was fed by Murphy, I think it was, and he just put it wide. Unlucky.
That was an opportunity though, man. You know that, right? That was an opportunity to seal the game.
Isak put that in, or at least on target.
Just to ask you both, when we're at a particular point, before the substitution even happened, in my head, I was thinking, we could actually win this game, you know, because the momentum was with us. Man City was almost like running out of steam a little bit, I think. And, you know, we can go back and I know people might look at it and be like, oh, they didn't have Rodri though. They didn't have De Bruyne though. And I get it. This is still Man City, squad upon squad of replacement killers, come off the bench all the time. But the fact that chance that Longstaff had, man, it was on a plate with the cutlery and the napkin. It was really good to go. And I know it's not very fair to do this, but in my head, I was like, if Tonali was in that position, boy.
You say that, though. You say that. Tonali, as good as he's been, he's had a couple opportunities in previous games where he arguably should have scored. One against Wolves, and I think the cup game after when Willock scored. Soon after that, he should have scored again. So, you know, just to play devil's advocate, you know, it's you know. But listen,
I know trying to balance the books there, but Longstaff was in space.
Though, isn't it?
Longstaff was in space. Was he in space or not though?
He was. He was
in so much space.
Listen, he did what to get in that space.
He lashed at it. He should have whipped it. He should have caressed it into the corner, but he whipped it and it went wide. As it came, he should have just whipped it.
Yeah. One credit I would give to Longstaff though, he took it first time, because that's a prime example where he might be going like, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4. And then on the street, right? Where he hit it one time, and I was just like, "Oh, right, you're hitting it one. Oh, is that how we're moving? Okay, that's I'll take the miss." But I mean, I'm glad he did hit it one time, because sometimes that's all you ask for is just like, "Yo, you're on the edge of the box, hit it straight up. Don't wait to get surrounded and then lose it. Just have a chance."
Yeah, I will say, obviously, as good as Joelinton was, he still gave the ball away in some dangerous positions, like just sloppily, and it allowed City to break and put pressure on our back line. But we have to give credit to Pope, because that save that he made at the end from Bernardo, when he chested it, turned and volleyed it.
Wow.
Yeah. That saves the game, because I'm telling you, if the grab is in goal, that goes in. Yeah. And Pope has made a habit of making these key saves late on in games to save us from to save a point or to save us from defeat. So we have to give him credit. Don't get me wrong, the brother is diabolical with his feet. Yeah. Did you see the one when in the first half when he's chested it and he tried to play it, and he's given it to Gundogan, and instead of playing it to Haaland, he's tried to chip him, and luckily he's caught it. But the guy is pathetic.
Yo, my heart was in my mouth when that happened. I was like, because at the position, I was like, no one's gonna lob him, and obviously it didn't quite come off. But
Gundogan had a mare.
Very much a Joe Hart situation, it's. I mean, shot stopping will win you some points or save you some points.
He's our Joe Hart, isn't he?
Yeah, at some point you've got to move on from it with the greatest respect. But I think what happens with the games like this, when again it's okay, it wasn't as high level as the Man City Arsenal game, but it was high levels nonetheless. We rose to the occasion. What's very, very evident is where we're lacking quality. So we talked about Murphy and his decision making. We just touched on Longstaff there. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So we know what we need to go forward and do now, so that this kind of quality of game, we can have this more regularly and go toe to toe. Because yes, we admit we're in a false position at the moment, but now hopefully we start putting our strongest 11 out. If they play with that same attitude, we may just make a fist of trying to get into Europe.
Well, you talk about strongest 11, right? So in that game, who would you say was the standout performer? Because I personally think it was Lewis Hall.
I thought for me.
I could agree with you there. Yeah.
I read a stat that he made the most ball recoveries out of anyone on the pitch, but we know what Lewis Hall brings offensively, right? But what it was is defensive discipline, and it's all around defensive display. He was so good, man. Up against Bernardo Silva. He's a tricky player. We know what he can bring. And he stood up to the challenge. He was winning balls. His set piece delivery was pretty good as well. And it's like he knew when to go forward and when to stay, which I thought was very impressive. And that's obviously they've worked on the defensive side of his game since he's arrived. And it's looked like it's paying off. Now, if he continues to be like that, he is our number one left back going forward.
100%. I don't think, I know people won't like this, but I don't think you're going to see Kelly coming back into that spot. And at the moment, I'm a bit like, does Kelly even get to the starting 11 right now?
Probably not.
Although I do think we need to trial him at centre back at some point. Maybe Byrne will get a suspension at some point, and we'll have to play.
Maybe in the cup game, let Kelly start left centre back
and see what he does there. Before we go into other high performers, I will say the number of bookings we're picking up is quite concerning, because Joelinton's on number 4 now.
We've got a bunch of savages, haven't we? Like prison rules football.
The whole midfield was booked. I think the whole midfield was booked yesterday in Saturday's game. Sorry, yeah. You've got Shea, was already suspension. He got booked again, right? So they're starting to add up. So the suspension
is crazy, man.
We're Atletico Madrid, aren't we? Basically,
I'm telling you, it's a madness. Like
it's funny when the whole midfield was on bookings, and I was just like, this is like wafer thin now. But at the same time, though, they all held it up.
Yeah, credit to them.
But it's quite, I was just want to say, it's quite interesting there, because you can see as well that we're a team as well that we have aggression of players. When you check out all the people who got booked, they all got aggression in them, man. Like, I forgot about Tonali's aggression. I was like, this guy does not have it. Then you got Joe Linton, you got Bruno. These guys do not have it. Like, they just don't have it.
And that's another stand-up performer. I know Jefferson, when we spoke about in the preview, you said that you want to see our key player would be Bruno. And, you know, he turned up today. I mean, again, he could be putting himself in the shop window for Man City. Another great performance in front of Pep. But I know you provided some stats. So 64 touches, 9 duels won, 4 out of 4 take-ons completed, 4 times possession won, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 1 chance created, which was the chance for Gordon. So an all-round, say captain's display, but he played very well. He played very well. And he needed to up against, you know, Kovacic and Gundogan and you know the likes of that. So spoke about Dan Burn. He performed very well against Haaland. I thought that was one of his strongest games that he's had. And Antony Gordon, not in his natural position, but you know he didn't have too many opportunities himself. But what he basically led from the front with his pressing and his intensity, and it paid off with the goal that he scored. You know, rewarded with a new contract that he's going to sign, so it looks like he's here for the foreseeable future. A big pay rise. So, you know, and I like the celebration, kissing the badge, and you know, it was a very emotional celebration.
He better deliver, man. He better deliver.
I think he definitely gets boosts off like good performance and goals, and I think we're going to start seeing him kick rolling his season now. I think you're going to start seeing a bit of a different Gordon. Like, let's face it was a night and day comparison with his performance in Fulham in this game. It was a totally different player. This is the Gordon of last season where we saw. Yeah. Gordon's a player that I always think to myself, it's a player that we love, but opposition hate.
Yeah.
Other teams don't like Gordon.
I hate him when he was with us. I hate him when he was at Everton.
When he was at Everton, we hated him. He was a pest, man. You're like, who is this kid, man? Like, always going down. But now he's our player. He's our shithousery, yeah? So we own it. So congratulations.
But the performance for me is like having a Macca's, you know what I mean? Right? It tastes great. Right, you know, it's decent, it goes down well, but is it spectacular? No. You know what you're gonna get when you have a Macca's, right? You remember what the flavor of the Big Mac tastes like, right? We just got what the standards we expected are. I'm not gonna kind of wax lyrical and have superlatives, right? And I think I already seen it with the cult of how silly remarks like, oh, where have all the haters gone? No, shut up.
What is it? This is
one draw. Relax.
But this is what I'm saying.
Relax.
Is this a one-off, or is this us turning the corner? Because even in certain group chats we're in, certain man say, "Yeah, we're back," or is it safe to say we're back? Like,
see, when I say we're back in it, it's a joke. I'm using it as a joke format.
But, you know, certain man will be like, you know what? They think this is it now.
Yeah. What I will say is that, which is good to have, is that St. James at the moment does feel a bit of like a fortress territory at the moment.
On that, you know,
it's not quite easy for people to come right to our grounds right now. But
there's a stat though. I think I saw a stat that we've scored in 22 consecutive games, and the next highest is 7. So we are like you said, St. James's Park. You know we're gonna score. You know, so you're gonna have to outscore us. So it's you know, and like I said, bar not Forest, it's literally just City and Liverpool that normally come and take the points of us. But even City can't beat us. So it bodes well at home, like I said.
And it's quite interesting because I'm looking at the Brighton fixture coming up soon. I'm like, I quite fancy it now. Because before
I said we get the 3 points from.
Yeah, you did say 3 points, and I was negative.
I'm getting excited because Chelsea are a good team.
No, but Brighton.
We've got Brighton at home soon.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That don't be deceived that they lost.
Oh, right, I see what you're saying.
They only lost 4-2 to Chelsea because Chelsea are a good team.
No, but Brighton can't defend.
They're playing better football than us. They're playing better football than us.
We know.
I ain't getting excited.
We know Palmer's cooking on the live fire, right? He's not even using gas. He's using.
Did you say AC?
He's on the coals, man.
Oh no! Don't get him started. Do not get him started, bro. said Phil Foden. He said Phil Foden, yeah?
Gosh, this guy, he's still on that chat.
He won't let it go, you know. The fact that Foden's been injured, you know, we'll see.
I would love us to sign him within next 3 years. I'd love
Foden makes signing for us, man.
Foden did come on as well.
150s.
Foden did come on, and he did look a bit humbled. And I was thinking about Jefferson. I was like, this guy's loving this right now.
Part of me thought, I was Foden scored, you know.
Stay humble, yeah.
Stay humble, yeah.
When Palmer can hold up the player of the season, innit? Yeah, the PFA player of the year, then we'll talk, innit?
Timestamp this one.
But just to get back on track with things, like I think my position on this, and I think you two do agree, is that look, I'm really happy with the result that we got of Man City, and like it's a good performance that we saw. And I know like some fans feel good enough that it feels like a win. It's not a win, obviously, but I think it's a good like almost like reminisce. It's like, this is how we used to be. It feels good, doesn't it? It's the nice taste of the fruits of the labor of, like, you know, a team that is pushing ahead. But it's a long trip still. I think like the test is going to be the Everton game. It's going to be hard to go Goodison. It's not an easy game. People think that's going to be easy. I think did Everton pick up points the other day?
They beat
Messi, mate.
They beat Palace, didn't they?
They beat Palace 2-1.
Oh, there was that kid in it who no, that's a different game.
Yeah, but just remember before Saturday's game, Everton have been playing a lot better than us. Even though they hadn't won, they've been playing better. Like, they were unlucky against Bournemouth. When they played Brighton, they were the better team, but then they went down to 10 men, they got slapped, right? But every other game they played, they've been pretty decent, yeah? And now, it's typical that they get their first win just before they play us now, so their tails are going to be up, right? So, I remember, we play midweek, they don't, yeah? Because we got the postponed game with Wimbledon. So, it depends what kind of lineup Eddie Howe goes with. But, again, there's no Isak. There's probably going to be no Isak for the game, right? It's going to be a battle, yeah? Under the lights at Goodington Park is never nice, right? So, like you said, this will be the assist. If we can come away with 3 points there and the performance is good, then I'll start to be convinced that, you know, we're on our way back. But until then, I'm not getting excited because, like some people said, it's easier to get up for a home game against Man City. We perform atrociously away from home. Yeah. So the proof is in the pudding. I remember this is Gordon's first time playing Everton since he's come to us, and it's
the first time.
Yeah, because he's been through injury or suspension. He's always missed them, hasn't he? Yeah.
I think the game we beat them 4-1, he did play, but I think he came off early, or he came on as a very late sub. Because
maybe a very late sub.
He didn't start. Was that when he still embedded into the team?
He wasn't fit.
Yeah. He wasn't fit. This is going to be. I remember he's going to be the main man up front. Them centre backs are going to rattle him. The crowd's going to rattle. He will pick up a booking. He will. He won't be able to keep his cool. I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be.
Will this be the game Joe Linton gets his 5th yellow?
Yeah, 100%. It will. It will. I was thinking that as well. You're going to be
game bad.
Ready for the Brighton game.
Back your teammates, innit? You got to back them.
He's a knockout. Anyway, I don't want to go too hard with him. But he put a challenge on. Was it Grealish that he put a challenge on before he got booked? I'm like, brother, what are you doing? You just wrestled him, just dashed him to the floor. Like, bro, think he was enough. He was going nowhere. He just doesn't think. But
he just doesn't know his own strength either. But I feel like the Everton game though, it's just like at the same time in an alternative universe. If I wasn't a podcaster, 90 Mags didn't exist, and I was just living a simple life and I supported Newcastle, I would be like, yeah, we'll win that game. It's a simple game. We should win that. But the details, though, is that Goodison, you know what it's like? You talk about Goodison, they got the blue flares going off. It's like anarchy out there, man.
I got offered a ticket to go down there. Someone offered me a ticket to go to the game next week. I said, you know what? Nah, bro, I'm good.
Nah, man. It's chaotic, man. It's chaotic.
The way they chase Gordon out of town, boy.
Yeah, imagine the CV and it's long day.
See, what was it last time? I think there's a guy in it, you know, Adam P in it. He's like a really big Newcastle fan. I think he went in there like undercover, like covered up his kit and that and tried like hang out with the Everton fans. And I think they
Oh,
clocked it.
he's mad.
And he
He's
got
mad.
chased out. He got chased out the stadium. Like,
he's a nutter, absolute nutter. Yeah,
you can't do that, man. Them guys don't play. They love their team in blue.
Yeah. But listen, before we wrap up, there's the small thing of the League Cup coming up against AFC Wimbledon. Obviously, the game's been switched to St James's Park. There's hints that Osula will start. Miggy's gonna start as well.
Has to.
So, do you see this being a formality, or is Eddie Howe gonna go with a strong starting lineup and then maybe sub some players off because we got Everton the weekend, or does he completely change the team? What do you reckon?
I think like obviously, you could change the whole, pretty much like you could change probably 8 players out of that team. But I think he's going to have to be careful. You got to balance it a bit because you don't want to take too much out and then, I don't know, on a sudden we're under the cosh and Wimbledon are winning 2-0 and you almost like can't do enough sub to change the formation or change the game a bit. But I think the obvious ones for me, Osula has to start. I think the fans, we deserve to see what's going on with him really as well. Yeah. And I think give Miggy a run out as well, man. I think it's a good game for Miggy, just in general speaking. The midfield gets tricky. It does get tricky because part of me feels like I think we should give Bruno a rest. And I think you could potentially start with Tonali. I think you could probably start with Longstaff.
And
Willock. And I think that's where it goes. And I think you just drop, especially with Joe Linton and his yellows, man. Let Joe Linton sit out a bit. It gets quite interesting with the keeper, though, because I feel like we need to keep Pope obviously fit. Don't make him play too many games. So I know earlier you were like, Dubravka ain't saving that, but I think Dubravka might have to come into this game. And then left back and all that, he gets a bit, there's some players in our squad we don't even see. People
if Target didn't have his Exma player up, he could have played left back. Yeah.
I've never ever seen that on an injury report before. Never.
I feel like Target right now, this guy's got a hex on him. I don't know who he troubled or whose daughter he shouldn't. Anyway. But listen, like, something's going on, man. He can't get a game. He can't get a break. And at this point of time, he's not existent in the squad. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what's going on.
Jefferson, anything you want to
play? Some of the under 21s, man. Play them.
Sanusi.
Particularly the ones that are training with the first team squad, and let them have the game time because all the other teams are doing it as well. It's only going to serve them well playing against a senior side. And maybe mix it up. So maybe make like 6 changes. Don't make 8, 9, 10. But yeah, you mentioned Sanusi. There's Alex Murphy. There's Travis Hearns. Give these guys a go. They're only if Travis Hearns is playing next to Tonali, for instance, or Willock, he's only going to improve, isn't he? Have the likes of Alfie Harrison on the bench and that. Let's give him some minutes and just protect the team. Protect the team. For me, this is the secondary cup, and I think I'm not going to go into the next round, but you got to think, is the reward worth it as well? But I think give the squad a run out and give the first team players a rest because the Premier League's our bread and butter, and I've still deep down inside, even though everyone's going to laugh at me, I've still got those faint hopes of 4th. And we can't do that if we're rinsing our players in this cup. So,
and we do. And just to interrupt you there, but sorry to interrupt, but also we do know what's on the other fence of like if you do get through, we're gonna have.
We need revenge. We want revenge. Revenge against Chelsea, bro.
We're getting tucked in, man.
Also, the context is
at home. At home,
we're at home. We're at home.
Yeah, we're at home.
We got Chelsea in the cup at home. But also, we've got Chelsea in the league 3 days before away.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I don't know, man. It's going to be a bit of a wild west.
I just
think if they play their strongest team, that's what worries me because, and then even players like Neto, gave us nightmares for Wolves. Like he's going to be on that big pitch.
We're going to draw at Stamford Bridge and we're going to beat them in the cup. Yeah, remember I told you. Yeah.
In the league, you think we'll draw against them in the league?
Draw in the league and beat them in the cup.
I'm gonna timestamp this on the video so people can go back to
I'd love us to get revenge.
Prediction.
It's happening. It's happening. But listen, we got to get past AFC Wimbledon first. But
and they beat Ipswich in the last round, you know.
Yeah,
and we
exactly.
saw Ipswich gave Liverpool a tough game, and they also drew with Villa yesterday.
I know.
So, you know,
Villa dropped points.
We can't take Wimbledon too lightly, to be fair.
Nah,
but that was at their stadium, though. So
exactly.
That's different.
I do. Yeah, I think Wimbledon at St James's, I think they're gonna get swallowed up, man.
It's light as a work, man. Light as a work. No, I'm joking. We don't
under the lights as well, and with the Geordies on a few.
They'll
beers.
just be happy to be here, innit? Yeah, for a day out, innit? They know they're getting their 50%
on that big pitch. On that big pitch.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But listen, I think that's a good place to leave it. Obviously, we're going to be back to preview the Everton game, and we can reflect on this cup game as well. But yeah, again, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. We're also available on the Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you want to listen to us. So yeah, until next time, we're out. Peace.
Salute, people. Until the next one. Ready when you are, boss.
Cool. Hello and welcome back to the 90s Mags podcast, your Newcastle United podcast, hosted by 3 lifelong Newcastle United friends. Myself, Jefferson, D-Man. Start again.
You forget our names.
No, you know what it is?
Me, Jefferson, D-Man.
So the digestion's kicking in. He's gone into a food coma already.
He's digested yet. All right, let's go again. Scrap this from the recording, by the way, Joe. AC. I know you're gonna try to put this in there.
No. I won't put it in.
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean. It's fine.
Cool.